Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Non-Anonymous. I'm Dr. Lynn, and I'm going to show you how to turn your addiction into a recovery superpower, one power tip at a time. This is a roadshow edition, and I'm here at Bear Mountain State Park in New York City, about 30 miles north of New York City. How about that? And I'm gonna talk to you about power tip number 7, which is called Freephobia. Yes, you heard me correct. It's called Freephobia. It's a term I came up with on my own. And I know you probably heard of claustrophobia, arachnophobia, the fear of small spaces, the fear of spiders. Well, freephobia is the fear of living free from fear. I'll say it again, the fear of living free from fear. And I think that's why I drank all those years, 38 to be exact, of my life. So I'll get more into that in a minute because I got a 7G solution to share with you that I've used personally and professionally. But in each episode, it has 2 parts. We have part 1, the doing, and part 2, where I'll kind of go into more detail about freephobia and the 7G solution. So we're gonna start with the magic of 7s. And it's actually a rhythm today I'm gonna show you that I learned from Drums Alive. Shout out to the best drum-tastic drum company in the world. And they showed me this rhythm. And it has to do with rhythm in the brain, and actually the patting that we're going to do and the clapping and the snapping calm the nervous system down. So when you're afraid, you get into that fight, flight, or freeze mode. You rarely hear about the freeze. So for me in my drinking day, I wasn't running and I wasn't fighting. I was freezing and drinking, just staying right in that fear and drinking to help calm my nervous system. Well, I'm going to show you how to use a rhythm and a pattern to do just that. So I'm going to scoot back. It's called the magic of 7. So all you need is your lap, your thighs, a table or something. All right, so I'm going to show it to you now. Here we go. We're going to start by patting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, it's gonna get harder. So I'm using this to distract my brain, but soothe the nervous system. All right, the next one, we're gonna add a clap. I'm trying to get in the sun a little more. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you'll notice I'll put a little emphasis on 1 and 7. And we always begin and end in the same place. That also brings you comfort. And repeating the pattern 4 times helps your brain become more familiar with the coping tool. So part of Freephobia and the 7G solutions is to practice. So you need to practice something. So if this pattern is unfamiliar or hard to you, that's okay. It's supposed to be. Getting over your fear of living free from fear and drugs and alcohol takes practice. All right, we're gonna add a snap. Woo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I slowed down a little bit. It got a little more complicated. And then also noticing that I was falling down after the snap. And that's just a way to a little more familiarize yourself with that pattern. All right, the last one is the hardest, and it crosses both sides of your brain, that corpus callosum. So this is really good to connect both sides of your brain so you can cope better with your fear. Here we go. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I think I goofed it up. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How about that? The old gal is still making mistakes in front of thousands of people. Now it's going to get harder. I'm going to put all those patterns together, all those 7s, the pat and the clap, the pat, the clap, the snap, and the pat, the cross. Okay, and we're going to do it 3 times. Let's see if I can pull this off. All right, here we go. We'll do each one 1 time, but 7 pats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Snap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And cross, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Snap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And cross, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last time, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Clap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Snap, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And cross, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How about that? So anyway, the idea of padding, bilateral stimulation, just this tapping and patting soothes the nervous system. It's kind of like when your mom rocked you as a baby or patted your back to soothe you, or even when you were in your mother's womb, that heartbeat, that pattern, that familiar. All right, so that's part 1. We're going to move on to part 2, and I'm taking you on a hike. Because one of the G's of that 7G solution is to get outside. So here I am, and we're going to hike and talk together as we walk around this beautiful lake at Bear Mountain. So our first G I want to talk about, and they all start with get. I don't know about you in recovery, but I always wanted to get something. I needed something to feel better. So this 7G solution, get outside, is one of them. The others all are getting something. And I love the idea of being receptive and getting and receiving what I need, even if it's not what I think I need. All right, number 1 of the 7G solution is to get a guide. So a lot of times when you go hiking, at least for me, I get a guide. In recovery, you need somebody who knows more about recovery, that's been successful, and maybe even relapsed a time or two and gotten back on the clean wagon or the recovery program, is to have a guide, an expert in the field. So I just finished zip lining and Via Ferrata climbing in Red River Gorge. Oh my gosh, that climbing was harder than I remember. And I had a guide, right, that went with me. They were an expert. So a guide can provide you a lot of safety and expertise, that leading by example and experience. So one of the things I discovered early on in my sobriety, or trying to get clean, and I was still drinking. I tried to get clean for a whole year. Guess what? By myself. And I didn't tell anyone. I was too embarrassed or ashamed, or, I surrounded myself by people who drank so that I could drink heavier and nobody might notice. Maybe they'd talk me out of trying to get clean. So what I realized, and my advice to you, this is not for everyone, is to get a guide or tell someone about your potential problem or fear of living free from this addiction. Is maybe it's a counselor, and it doesn't even have to be a counselor in addiction. Maybe they specialize in PTSD, or they specialize in cognitive behavioral therapy, or truck going by, or EMDR, the eye movement, the rapid eye movement treatment. So find somebody who you can trust. All right, another person, maybe it's your pastor, your preacher. Maybe it's your sponsor if you get into AA, where you're really going to try to tell them all the truth and discover, what is this fear of being free from this addiction all about? Sometimes it's somebody in your group, a support group, But also, what about, I was in running club, triathlon club. What about if it's just someone in a group, your pickleball group, that you kind of go, maybe there's somebody in there and you go, gosh, I'm thinking, I'm kind of scared to say this. But you want somebody that's not going to judge you or try to maybe talk you out of thinking you have a problem. All right, so that's number 1 on our 7G solution, get a guide. Number 2 is get educated. Knowledge is power. So as far as get educated, one of the things I wanted to find out more about was fear. Why am I so afraid? So I went and Googled the top 3 fears for humans. And I found number 1, not surprising, but 2 and 3, oh my gosh, they hit the nail on the head for me. And potentially why I chose to drink instead of trying to cope and get better strategies for my fear. So, number 1, let me let you think for a second. Or pause the video. What do you think the top 3 fears for humans is? All right. Number 1 is the fear of death, or after death, the unknown of what's going to happen after we die. And what also goes along with that is the fear of a serious illness or injury, a hurt, a pain. And that pain can be physical or emotional. And then number 2 is the fear of embarrassment or humiliation. I used to get so scared to talk in front of people. Look what I do now. And number 3 is the fear of not being loved or belonging. Oh my gosh, I know that resonates. So when I think of recovery and fear for me, 2 and 3 kind of get lumped under an umbrella. And that umbrella is like judgment. I was so hard just even judging myself, or the fear of humiliation of other people judging me for my imperfections. Also the fear of not fitting in. I drank to fit in so I could be more socially acceptable, and I would not be so scared in being with people. And I think about addiction in general, and number 1 is true as far as a fear. Maybe we drink and use drugs despite the idea that we're hurting ourselves, that we do embarrassing things or say things when we drink or do drugs. And are we afraid of dying or getting sick from it? But we do it anyway. So Freephobia is, how do we break free and live free from that fear? All right. So that's number 2. I got myself educated on what fear was in general. And then number 3 is get equipped. I needed to get equipped. I needed equipment. And in every job, everything we do maybe for recreation or outside of work, a lot of it involves equipment, right? So just when I was hiking and climbing and zipping, listen to me, I'm getting out of breath. This is good for my heart and my lungs. So I had a helmet, I had a harness, I had carabiners, I had a safety line. I actually had physical equipment. When I do yoga, I have a mat, block, strap. The thing about equipment, from whether it's play like I just described or work, maybe it's your computer, technology, maybe it's a backhoe, a hammer, whatever it is for your job as well, is you gotta use it. And a lot of times, I don't need a helmet, I don't need safety glasses, I don't need this. I don't know, that kind of goes along with my addiction mindset. I don't need anything, right? I'll be fine. You gotta embrace your equipment. So think about equipment in recovery. I don't know. I carry my little yearly coin or chip with me everywhere. And for me in recovery, the hardest things and what my equipment turned out to be was actually, what am I going to say or do if I feel threatened? And I am scared. I'm going to stop for a minute, have a look out here. Look at this. Look at those mountains. How about that? You know, what am I going to say or do in a sticky situation? So I always had to think when people, this was so hard for me, and it still is. People would ask me, like at a faculty retreat or function or at a family reunion, friends and family would say, or colleagues, you don't mind if I drink around you? And I'm going to go back to that fear. Number 3, love and belonging. If I didn't say, oh yeah, it's okay to drink around me, then they wouldn't love me or like me. I have the hardest time telling people, I would really appreciate it if you didn't drink around me, because it's still something that tempts me and threatens me. Even though I don't think I drink, I'm afraid of how people act when they drink. I start to feel threatened. And it also flashes me back to what I acted like. It's just that reminder of who I never want to go back to. How do I say all that when I'm going out? So when somebody asks me, and I've yet to do it, I'm going to try the next time, is prepare and practice what I'm going to say. And it's going to be different from all of you. And maybe some of you aren't scared. Oh, sure, drink around me. Now I'm 13 years in this sobriety, and there were periods and years, it didn't matter. I could go into bars and restaurants and be around people drinking. But not this year, not right now, not today. So I need to get free from my fear of someone not liking me or not loving me or being around me, because I need to love and like myself, and I need to protect myself, right? So I've got to think of what I want to say. To be honest, I haven't ironed out exactly what it'll be, but I know I need to step up and do it. And the other thing is for me is, what am I going to do in a sticky situation? So I learned something in EMDR, and it is fabulous. And my counselor put these little beepers in my hand, and each hand had one. So there's bilateral stimulation of EMDR back and forth. And I had this mantra, and it was get up, get out. So one hand was get up, the other was get out, get up, get out. I need to physically get up and get out of the situation. And I've already done it one time. I was in a really scary situation for me. Anybody else might not have been afraid, but I got up and I got out. So that is something that really worked for me. So that's my equipment. At the beginning, my equipment involved going to AA 2 and 3 times a week. Also, celebrate recovery. I use the Life Recovery Bible as part of my equipment. My coin, my chip, I'd rub it, take it everywhere with me. So whatever works for you, just think of what you want to say and what you're going to do. And the last thing I'll say, when I was around people drinking, I knew I needed my own ride out. So I try not to put myself in situations if people are drinking that I can't drive myself out, or get an Uber and get out. Very important. All right, so we did get a guide, get educated, get equipped, and now my favorite one of all is get a default. There's always those default settings on the computer. Well, I needed a default. So what my defaults are is something that I can practice and put into place, kind of like my equipment, right? So the first part of my default is just recognition that I've lost my way. I'm starting to panic. I'm starting to get anxious. It's like having spidey sense. Something around me is just not right. Okay, so just that first part of a default is recognition and awareness. And if something doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. So that one, and what am I going to do when I recognize it? Say, okay, so I got to come up with a plan. And part of my default for me is get a different view. I need to look at something else. So if I'm in a sticky situation, I need to change what I see. I need to look up, look left, see a spider web, crack in the floor, look at my feet. You need to change what you're looking at, and it can make you more aware of something happening around you. Plan an exit strategy. but also can calm you down. It kind of cuts that fear that's happening by looking around. And then, got to get moving. That get up and get out. I need to physically move. And one thing I found helpful to me, and everybody can, most people can do this, whether you're walking or rolling or using a cane or your feet, you can move. So start to move your body. So whether that's walking, whether that's doing some yoga, some breathing, whatever movement, I'm going up a hill, guys, that you do, you gotta get some kind of movement. It'll change your heart rate, it'll change your breathing pattern. And then the last default, this is a good one, is to have some kind of self-talk practiced. I talked about practicing what you want to say. Oh, I'm breathing hard, to someone else in a sticky situation. But what are you going to say to yourself? So I call it a mantra or self-talk. Maybe it's a psalm or a prayer or a scripture passage. But for me, guess what mine is? Get up, get out. Get up, get out. Or I was kind of panicking in the New York traffic getting here yesterday. And I was like, stay calm, stay calm, stay calm. One of the things I would encourage you not to do is, I'm going to take a little break on this rock. Oh, look, I'm taking a break, taking care of myself. Gosh, I hope a bear doesn't come down here. Let me breathe for a second. One of the things that I would encourage you to avoid is to not say, don't be scared, don't be afraid. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to have fear. It's what you do about it. So instead of saying, don't be scared, flip it to stay calm, stay calm. And every time I say calm, I'm exhaling. And that exhalation lowers my blood pressure and lowers anxiety. All right? Get up, get out, get up, get out, get up, get out, get up, get out. Right? Or stay calm, stay calm. Another one I love is, you got this, you got this, you got this. And you just say it over and over. So those are some of my defaults, and I practice them, I use them. Here we go again, making a lap around the lake. All right, so after get a default, you gotta get out of your own way. All right, so getting out of your own way. I don't know about you, but I was a great self-sabotager. If I had a really bad day going on, I deserved a drink. If I had a really good day, I deserve a drink to celebrate, right? I was always just self-sabotaging, constantly doing what I'd always done. And I grew up in a family that drank every day at 5 o'clock. It's happy hour. Aren't we supposed to be happy? You know, I drank to not be scared. And then here I am, a victim of my Freephobia. I'm scared not to drink. I'm never going to have fun again. I'm never going to have my friends again. I did lose some friends and close relationships with family members over this addiction and this disease. Oh, I got a good spot to look at here. So, you know, this fear is real, right? And I get in my own way. But now here I am becoming non-anonymous. And that's another way I'm getting out of my own way, by outing myself. I'm an alcoholic. I'm in recovery. And I'm a survivor. Matter of fact, I'm a thriver. Look at this. Ooh, isn't that beautiful? Bear Lake. Lovely. All right, I know I'm going long today. So that was our get out of your own way. And the last one is to get going. And the other one I already told you was get outside. And that's what I'm doing today, right? So get going. Start something. Don't just talk about it. Now, when you're overcoming a fear, and mine is what? A fear of living free from fear. I'm going to try to walk up here while I do this so you can see this. Is to make sure that you just do one thing at a time. And I have the most beautiful older son, And he is about to turn 40 years old tomorrow. Happy birthday, Nicky. And he's the one that always said, and I almost relapsed. And he was the first person I called. He said, Mom, you got this. I've seen you rappel off a building. You can do anything. One thing at a time. So I mentioned these 7 G's solutions. The get a guide, get educated about whatever it is you're having trouble getting over. Mine is the fear of being free from being afraid. Get equipped. Get a default. Get out of your own way. Get going on just one. And for me, one of the biggest things of my recovery is getting outside. Because in nature, I feel naturally high. I feel so close to the God of my understanding. And behind me, that's the Appalachian Trail. Is that cool or what? All right, guys, I hope you got a lot out of it. Get your magic of your 7 G's a-tapping. And I'll see you next time. I'll be in Connecticut or Rhode Island at the beach for our next episode. Bye-bye.